What's up, YouTube? It's I, and I'm back with another story time. I know I said I was supposed to drop a video for y'all like 3 days ago, but y'all, your girl been sick. Like, everybody got sick right after the main events. So, like, for the past couple of days, it been so miserable for me. Like, today is like the official day I have actually been out the bed, cleaning and stuff. So yeah, your girl is bouncing back. So like I said, I'll be doing a story time and I'll be telling y'all why I had to rush Miyah to the hospital. But before I get into this video, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, send it to a friend or family member, and let's get into this story time. So yeah, I had to rush Miyah to the hospital a day after my birthday. And yes, y'all heard that correctly. A day after my birthday. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I volunteered at Miyah's school. Thursday was my birthday. So because I volunteered Monday through Thursday, I didn't go Friday. Because I'm like, I even came on my birthday. And yeah, I just didn't want to come in Friday. So I stayed home. Friday morning, we did what we always do. I got Miyah up, got her ready for school, dropped her off to school. Came back home, house clean. It's still early. I got back into bed, laid down, and watched me some movies. So, something like 11:30-ish, I get a call from Miyah's school. So, now, answer, the first thing I heard was Miyah screaming. I'm talking about a scream I can't even describe. Like, I knew something was wrong, how bad she was screaming. My heart had instantly dropped. So, the lady at the office like, hey, Mom, they sent her in here to me. They said she had an incident on the playground. So I'm like, what happened? So now I done jumped up and I'm already putting my clothes and shoes on. So I'm like, what happened? So then another lady grabs the phone and it's the school nurse. So she's like, hey, Mom, yeah, they brought her in here saying that she had an incident. She tripped on the playground, but her arm looked like, it's really in pain, like something could be wrong with it. This is what the school nurse is telling me. So, y'all, I'm rushing, putting on my stuff. So now I'm out the door. I'm on the way to the school. So her teacher gets on the phone and her teacher like, hey, yeah, we was in the playground. I'm not a witness to what happened because I didn't see anything. But I know she did, fall because when we got to her, she was on the floor screaming and crying. It's 4 kindergarten teachers and none of y'all seen nothing, but when y'all rush to my child, she's laying on the floor screaming and crying. So I'm like, you know what? Since y'all don't know what happened, stop talking to me. Get a phone to my child. Miyah steady screaming and crying. So I'm like, Mike, what's wrong? Like, tell me what's wrong. Miyah steady screaming. All I hear her saying is, my arm. And she's screaming. So the lady grabs the phone back and she's like, Mom, I don't know if you want to click. Because now y'all put me. I had to hug up on her face because I'm already on the way up there. On my way up there, they call back. I'm like, hello. She like, yeah, Mom, I think we got disconnected. I said, we didn't get disconnected. I'm on the way up there. Hung up on her face. I'm marching to the office. Now, I can see them because it's a glass door. They look so worried. I don't care. Because I let y'all know from the beginning, I don't play with my child. So when I come in here, I'm not signing shit. Get out my face. Since none of y'all know what happened, there's no reason for us to be talking. So let me talk to my child. So I'm like, bring my child out. So they bring Miyah out. Miyah literally, she just steady screaming. And then her arm was like, literally, it was her right arm. Her arm is stuck. Like, she has it stuck to her hip. Like, she don't want to move it. So I'm like, talk to me. Like, what's wrong? What's wrong? She's steady screaming. I'm talking about some eyes puffy, face like, soaked with tears. So I'm like, Mike, talk to me. Calm down. Like, let Mama know what's wrong. She like, my arm. So I'm like, what happened? She say someone pushed her. So the teacher come out with the incident report and she like, I don't think anyone pushed her. So now I'm looking at her teacher like, how you gonna say you don't think that's what happened when you don't even know what happened? So I'm talking to my child. So I finally got Miyah to, calm down. So I'm talking to Miyah and I'm like, do you want to go home? So at first she was like, yes, she want to go home. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and sign my child out. So then she turned around and she was like, well, can I finish my schoolwork on my laptop? So that's what made me think it wasn't such a big, deal, or it wasn't as serious as it was because she wanted to finish her schoolwork. So I'm like, yeah, but I'm staying here with you because now I got an issue. So we get back in the classroom and she doing her schoolwork. So 2 students out of her class, there was 2 little girls. And they came up to me, which they familiar with, because like I said, volunteer at school. And it was like, yeah, Miyah was playing on the playground and such pushed her, which caused her to trip over another student. And then she tripped over, they said, some little step thing that's outside on the playground, and she flipped and landed on her arm backwards. This is what the two little girls told me. So I called Mike back over there because at this point I'm sitting at the second teacher's desk. So I called Mike over there and like explain to me, what happened. So Mike was like, they was outside playing tag or whatever, and she told, I'm not gonna say the child name, but she told the child that she didn't want to play no more. She said when she, went over there with her other friend, she got pushed from the back, like, somebody pushed her from the back, which caused her to trip over another student's foot. And then, like, I guess when she tried to, get up and stop herself from falling again, she said she tripped over this black step. And, the black step is like kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a tall step. So when you flip over it, you're going to get injured. She flipped over it, and she said that, she landed on her arm, and it was, backwards. And that's when her teachers and then ran over there and picked her up and took her to the office. So I'm like, who pushed you? Now I'm sitting in the classroom like, who pushed you? Point them out. So now I got an attitude. So I'm over there mean mugging the whole time. So they goes to resource, which was art that day. And her teacher come in there and she like, I'm so sorry. Da, 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 da. So I'm like, she said such pushed her. Here she go again. I don't really believe that such will push her. So I goes and get my child, I sign her out. We go home. So we gets home and whatever, and Miyah doing her schoolwork, she playing around, but she's not moving like, she usually will move. Like, she still has her arm stuck like this. So I'm telling her, like, raise your arm, move it up and down. She said she don't want to do it. So, I left her alone the first time. So the second time, I'm like, we got to see if anything, wrong with it, or is it just sore or something like that. So I'm like, just move it up and down, see if you can wave your hand. She attempted to do it, and she started crying a little bit, and she was like, it still hurt. It's sore. So I'm like, okay, you don't have to do it. So she laid on the sofa next to me. It starts to get late. It was like around, I'll say 8. So I was like, Miyah, it's time for you to go take your bath or whatever. So she goes in and she take her bath down. Miyah, I'm sitting on the sofa looking at TV, y'all. I'm sitting on my sofa looking at TV. Miyah just walked in the bathroom. I hear the water running. I tell y'all no lie. A minute later, my child screams like she did on the phone. I run in there and I'm like, what's wrong with you? She's literally stuck like this. I'm talking about bent over like this, stuck. And she like, my arm. All she keeps saying is my arm, my arm. I help her take the jacket off. Like, as I'm taking the jacket off, y'all, she was screaming like, oh my goodness. Like, she was screaming. And it was scaring me so bad. And I'm like, no, we have to go to the hospital. I'm thinking that the whole time we was at school, but because she said she wanted to stay and do schoolwork, I didn't think it was, that serious. So as I'm taking her jacket off, she just, screaming out like she's screaming. So as I take her jacket off, she had on this sweater, but I can see her shoulders like literally like, I don't know, but it didn't, her shoulders, something. When I took her jacket off, y'all, she had this gray sweater on. Anyways, when I took it off, like, I don't know how to describe it, but her shoulders didn't sit right with me. Like, I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. So she was still screaming. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to the hospital. To the hospital we go. So I done grab, the incident report, because y'all know how people make it seem. You'll bring your child in for something and they'll try to put it on you. No ham, no ma'am, no turkey. I grabbed the incident report. I grabbed my ID. Damn, I grabbed my whole wallet. Her whole appointment folder. I grabbed all of it. I had everything, like everything you could think of that a child would need. I brung it. So, we on the way there. She's sitting in the car. She not screaming like she was, but she's like, like she's whining. I know she, in pain still. So we gets to the hospital. I let them know her issue or whatever. They took about, 30 minutes just to see us. So, boom, they come see us. They take us to the back. So, the man asking her, like, what's wrong? So, she tells the man exactly what she told me. She was like, I was at school, another student pushed me. I tripped over another student, and I tripped over the black step, and then my arm, she said, twisted, and she fell on it. So, he was asking to see her arm. And Miyah, I told y'all she had the sweater on, but she did have, a t-shirt under it, because this around the time it was cold. So he wanted her to take the sweater off. I tell y'all, we was trying to take that sweater off her. She would not budge. When I tell y'all she started screaming, I'm talking to the top of her lungs. He was just like, yeah, something is wrong. He was like, something is wrong. He was like, I'm gonna get y'all rushed back there into, you know, y'all room so that we can get some x-rays done. Back into the front, we sit there another 30 minutes. Then they call us to the back. Into the room, which I'm gonna show, you know, the photo right here. So we get into the room, and the nurse asking, you know, the same questions, asking Miyah, like, you know, what happened. And I really feel like they was doing that to see, like, if her story would change. Because I tell y'all, like, 4 different nurses came in and asked her the same question over and over again, even though I'm letting them know, like, they said it happened at school. So that's why I put the incident report out, and I was like, y'all can document this. So it could let me know, like, I brought her in here, you know, for this issue. We're waiting another 40 to 50 minutes, y'all. I'm telling you, so we just sitting in there. So she like, Mom, we gonna either have to pull the sweater up off her, or we gonna have to cut through it. So I'm telling the nurse, like, whatever y'all feel like y'all needs to do, I just want to know, you know, what's wrong with my baby arm. So they goes to get the scissors to cut Miyah's sweater. And before they, you know, cut her sweater, they had asked her, they was like, is it okay if we cut your sweater? Miyah was like, Miyah looking at her like, hell nah. So Miyah looking at her like, hell nah. But, so Miyah was like, she didn't say no, but she was like, can we pull it, you know, try to pull it up off you? So Miyah was like, you know, like, yes. So we tried again. We tried to pull the sweater off. Didn't work. She started screaming again. So at this point, there was like, only option we have is to cut it, or we could try to roll the sleeve up. So we tried rolling the sleeve up, which worked perfectly. So they came in, and they took us to the x-ray room. So, you know, they had her, you know, do some x-rays on her arm and stuff like that. They took multiple x-rays. They was telling her to bend it. She's crying and screaming because she had to bend it. They telling her to stretch it out. She was screaming and crying because they telling her to stretch it out. So I'm just like, you know, me experiencing it, I was tearing up because I'm like, my baby is dead ass in pain. Like, and I cannot help her because after the x-ray, so we go back in our room, y'all, and we're still waiting. At this point, we're waiting 2 hours. I'm talking about 2 hours. I am not lying to y'all. When I tell y'all we was in there for a total of 6 hours when we left, it ain't make no sense, y'all. So when we go back into the waiting room, we end up for another 2 hours. So it got to the point where I got irritated because I'm like, you know, dang, like my baby arm hurting. What's the results? Y'all told me, you know, after y'all look at the x-rays, y'all was going to tell me what was going on. I ended up getting up and I went to the desk and I was like, is the x-rays done for my baby? Like, did y'all get the results? So he like, you know, what's your baby name? So I told him, he like, oh, yeah, they didn't come in there. They was done an hour ago. They was done an hour ago? I'm like, nobody came in there and told us anything. I'm like, we've been sitting there for 2 hours waiting on results. And you telling me it was done a whole hour ago. So he like, I'm sorry. Let me go find, I forgot what nurse was, such. Finally, the nurse comes back in there and she's like, I'm sorry for the wait. 2 hours though. 2 hours. So she comes in there and she didn't let me see the x-rays. Like, you know how they'll come in and show you. She didn't let me see, but she did explain to me and break it down like what it was. She was like, you know, her arm, like right here did snap. She was like, and it did get twisted. She was like, so she is going to need, you know, a cast. So I'm sitting there like, my child arm is really twisted. That's what you tell me. Like, y'all, when I tell y'all I had so many flashbacks of what I do to them people that it didn't make no sense. I'm talking about some, they was just like, the flashbacks was like, at this point, you know, Miyah done fell asleep on the bed. So she asked me, she like, you know, Mom, is it okay if we proceed, you know, with the cast? I'm like, you know, yes, ma'am. You know, our child gonna need it, but I'm still like in shock. Like, how? People try to say, you know, she just tripped and fell, this, that, and the third, or she climbed up the rock wall and fell down when the rock wall ain't nothing but 3 feet. But my child said that she was pushed by another student, which caused her to flip over another student, and the step in her arm was twisted. Which story makes sense? Like, which story makes more sense to y'all? Like, I'm going to be honest. And me, I'm going to believe my child at the end of the day. I don't care what it is. You wasn't making any sense. So now I'm, like, heated because I'm like, my child got to wear a cast now. Like, so we goes and we wake Miyah up or whatever. They have to help her up because, you know, when she tried to get up on her own, you know, she was screaming and crying. Even with us helping her, she was screaming and crying. So we helping set her up or whatever. So when it was time to put the cast on, cast happened to cover up like her wrist and all the way to, you know, almost up here. Her sweater wouldn't go, you know, that high. So they eventually had to cut through, her sweater. So when they cut through her sweater, the lady came in, for the stuff for the cast. So it was like these, I don't even know how to explain it, but she was just a cutting and measuring Miyah arm and stuff. So then she went to wetting it, and then she told me she had to wet it so, when she wet it, she could form it into the size of Miyah arm. So when she did do that, Miyah was steady screaming because she had to, for one, she had to have Miyah, turn her hand like this, so she had to fold her arm. Then she had to have Miyah straighten it so that, the cast can go to her wrist, right here to her elbow, and then it had to go up. So once she got that wet part on, she had Miyah sit her arm right back up, and then she folded it and formed it into, her arm. So literally her arm was like this the whole time, which was crazy because my child is right in it. So I'm like, how she even supposed to do schoolwork? So after she did that, she gave Miyah, I forgot what it's called, y'all, but it was real pretty. It was like pink and purplish with animals on it. It's like the thing, I think she said a sling. I think that's what it's called, a sling. You put it across your body and you put your arm in it. She gave Miyah that. It was just so pretty. So she had put it on Miyah, and she showed me, how I'm supposed to put it on her every day and stuff like that. The nurse that wrapped Miyah arm, she was real sweet, real gentle. She took her time. It took her about 30 minutes to wrap Miyah arm. Like I said, her little sling was so pretty. That's the only thing that Miyah liked about it. She didn't like that she had a cast on. Like, it aggravated her so bad. And it was aggravating me that it aggravated her, because I'm like, I can't even take this off my baby, and she wanted it off. Like, it was just so, I don't know. So before we left the hospital, she was telling us that we have to follow up, with Miyah doctor in another hospital, a children's hospital. I had to wait, like I said, that was a Friday, so I had to wait Monday to do all that. So we got our discharge papers, and then we went home. So my child was crying and aggravated because she couldn't sleep how she wanted to. So she was asking me, could she sleep on the sofa? I let her sleep on the sofa. And then it was just so, like, she was crying because she couldn't bathe her arm. And then I'll say, like, a couple days after getting her cast, she was crying because she said the cast was itching. I was so irritated because I'm like, y'all don't understand. Like, it kind of like, I don't know, it kind of like bothered me because it was nothing I could do. And then I was so irritated because I'm like, I sent my child to school in y'all hands, trusting y'all to look after my child. And I didn't come in for one day. I was there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for y'all. And Friday that I didn't come in, not something wrong with my child. Like, it just was irritating me. So Monday comes, and, I go to the school with her because at this point now I don't trust nobody. Now I got an attitude. Like, I'm watching my child like a hawk now. So, I go to school with her, and the teacher's like, she has a cast? I said, yeah. From a fall you told me she had. Oh my goodness. Y'all don't want to know what I was thinking in the back of my head. Like, y'all don't want to know what I was thinking about doing. Trying to act like they were so concerned. I rolled my eyes so hard. And went to walking my child, everywhere she had to go, I was taking her into school. Like, we're going to lunch, I'll eat lunch with my child. She going to art, I go to art with her. Like, I didn't want to leave her nowhere. I didn't feel like, she was safe. So I said, like, 4 days after Miyah having a cast, I noticed her hand got real fat. So I'm just looking at her hand like, her left hand was so skinny and normal. I know she got these skinny, long fingers. And then her right hand was so short and fat. And I was staring at it, and I'm like, that don't look normal. Like, that don't look, I didn't know if it was from the swelling or the cast. I don't know if the cast was too tight. I didn't know what was going on. So that day she did have an appointment with, the children's hospital. I'm like, can y'all please, like, just check out her hand? Like, I don't know if that's from, her arm being, how it is, or the cast being too tight. I don't know, but, it's worrying me. It's bothering me because her hand is so fat. So he told me that it was from, her arm, and plus because the cast was on, it was stopping, blood flow. And that's what caused the swelling in her hand. And I was glad that, you know, we went the day we went, because he was telling us, like, if we, you know, come in sooner, it would have been an issue with her hand, like, permanently. So he had took the cast off and he did some more x-rays. Had her moving and stuff. Now this time she wasn't screaming and stuff. She was just like out, out, that hurt. And he was like, okay, I'm just going to keep moving and you tell me like where it hurts. So he was like, you know, touching her wrist. He was touching her elbows. He was touching up here. And she was saying like her wrist. And she was like, this right here was the main part that hurt. To me like how long she had to keep it on. So after he did his tests, you know, x-rays and stuff, he had wiped her arm down. He did let her arm breathe. That was another thing I was glad he did. After he let it breathe, he did put another cast on, but this time it was like green, which I'm gonna show the photo right here, because her first one was like white or beige, so this one was green. And then, you know, we just did follow-up appointments, but he was real, you know, caring, gentle. He had asked me what had happened. I explained it to him, and he was like, you gonna have to watch them. And him like, you get me? So I had even showed him, you know, the school report and everything else. He was like, yeah, that sound a little fishy. He was like, especially from a fall, she wouldn't need all this from a fall. But after all that, he just told me, you know, good thing is she don't need any surgeries. We just have to let it heal on its own with the cast. And then he had told me, he was like, he don't want her doing any lifting, no monkey bars. He don't want her playing too rough for anybody. Don't let anybody touch her arm. He was like, certain activities with lifting or anything you think that involves her arm, do not let her do it. So he had gave me a school note to let her know, like, you know, these are some activities that she can't do. I did forget how many weeks she had it on, but she had it on for some weeks. So when her next appointment came up, you know, they said she had improved so much. Like, they was telling her, you know, lift your arm, wave your fingers. So when it did come to her, I believe it was her last appointment when they took the cast off, you know, they had her do it again, like, you know, lift her arm, stretch it out, wave it. She was okay. She didn't complain about any, you know, pain. Then she, you know, went back to school as usual. But like I told her, you know, they said 12 weeks. You can't do any lifting and stuff. After her appointment, that next Tuesday, she had went back to school. So I went up there to, you know, volunteer or whatever. And I believe she had dance that day. So they had went to dance. You know, I was helping, you know, organize schoolwork and stuff like that. And they had came in there and told me that she was in there screaming and crying because, you know, they was dancing. And one of the dancers was telling her, I guess, to like raise her arm or something. When she went to raise her arm, she fell to the floor screaming and crying. When we had got home, you know, I called her doctor, and her doctor was like, yeah, well, you know, she's still fresh out the cast. She's not supposed to really be, you know, moving like that. So again, don't let her lift or, you know, do any activities that involve her arm. So that's what we did. So now, you know, your girl is straight. She's good. I still be looking at them like, because I feel like somebody pushed my child, and I feel like they know who pushed her. They just don't want to say nothing because they know how I am. So, y'all, that was it for this story time. If y'all want to know any more story times, make sure y'all comment down below or DM me on Instagram. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, send it to a friend and family member, and stay tuned for the next video.